Hey there. A lot happened in the past 2 weeks and it's very late, so I am going to nip through this pretty quickly. In the first big thing that happened, I was part of one of Oxford's teams in the Atlantic Council Cyber 912 competition. This is like a hackathon for security policy and it's hosted at the Geneva Centre for Security Policy. The first day of the competition saw us presenting policy ideas that we've been preparing for the past few weeks. I had to give a 10-minute talk in front of a panel of 6 expert judges from public sector, private sector, various kind of EU level bodies, and then we got grilled for 10 minutes in Q&A. We did well enough on the Thursday that we got through to the semi-final on the Friday. Unfortunately, the semi-finals were as far as we got, but we did get an opportunity to have a look around Geneva on Friday, which was nice. The competition was really good, partly because we got some really good feedback in terms of formulating ideas for policymakers instead of technologists, which is always a problem, to be honest, and just general presentation skills. The competition was really tough. There were teams from military academies, kind of policy universities like GCSP had their own team. And there were teams from most continents, I think. There were a contingent from China, a team came over from America, one of the Air University in Alabama. Definitely want to go back next year if we can, and hopefully we'll get to the final then. I'm pretty confident that now that we understand more about how the event works and what they're looking for, we could do better. The event also featured one of those morbidly fascinating moments where it was in the Q&A session and one of the judges who hadn't said very much so far just kind of looked at us, looked down at his notes in front of him, and proceeded to systematically deconstruct every idea that we'd put across in a really insightful way. And it was that moment where you just look at the plans that you thought you were good and it's like, oh boy. But hey, it can't have been that bad. He gave us a good score anyway. After 2 months of talk courses, I finally started proper research this week. I've been looking at the ethics of algorithms, trying to detect and alter biases. It's really rewarding to be working on something that I chose this time around. And there's obviously the advantage in being able to set your own working hours. In theory, I'd make it in for 9 and try and make it some kind of formal working thing, but quite often I don't get in till 10. And then I think it was Thursday, it was quite sunny, so we just got knocked off the 3 and got ice cream and sat in the park. There are definite advantages to doing research. I did parkour for the first time this week as well on Wednesday. There was like the usual kind of jumping over walls and prancing about a bit, which was like good fun anyway, but I think the best bit was learning how to fall over. I kind of spending 15 minutes being pushed over one way, and then another 15 minutes of being pushed over the other way. The downside of being pushed over backwards for 15 minutes was that I had a sore butt for the next few days. I also finished reading The Air War, which is, another big, thick Shadows of the Apt book. I really like the grand scale of interwoven narratives that Tchaikovsky manages to do. He was at EasterCon, actually, and I missed him, which is kind of sad. If I'd known earlier, I probably would have tried to get there. I also started and finished The Great Gatsby. I realised after reading All the King's Men that I had a bit of a thing for novels that embody the American dream, this persistent disregard for the past and striving for something better. I think this is summed up really well in the scene at Gatsby's party. One of the guests is drunk and is driving his car, screws up because he's completely smashed. The car goes into a ditch, a wheel falls off. He still tries to drive it out. It's just this ruthless optimism with like a blatant disregard for the way things really are. And the day that I finished reading Gatsby was the day of the Lunar Ball. It was an excuse to dress up nice and figure out how to tie a bow tie. It's the little tucky bit at the end that's where you come undone, or rather where the tie does. The party was advertised as being from dusk till dawn. We went in at about 8:30, and because this is Oxford, at 5:30 we went into town because it was May morning. Every year they poke some small children up to the top of Magdalen Tower and make them sing. But there are plenty of weird things that happened here, strange traditions and things that people just do because they've been done for as long as anyone can remember. What really gets me is that 25,000 people show up every year at the crack of dawn to hear the children sing. And they sing the same thing every year, and they have done for a long time now. And that's actually the reason why I'm recording now at 1 in the morning, because my sleeping pattern is completely screwed up now. I hope all the coursework deadlines will go okay. I just got a notification on Facebook about a post that I'd done a year ago, which was handing in the master's dissertation, and I do not envy you. I am glad those days are behind me, or at least behind me for now. I'm trying to recreate your bookshelf. So I noticed you have the code book, which I haven't read yet, and I think I can see The Emperor's New Mind. Trying to recognise it from like the little bits at the top and the bottom of the spine. I've read like half of this before, but I think I was a bit too young for it all to make sense. It's definitely on the list of things to reread or read, or the list. It's on a list somewhere. That's all for this fortnight. I'm gonna quickly edit this and try and like beat my sleeping pattern submission. Bye bye. I think them. Books.